Elon announced, yeah, Elon announced, of course, Elon announced Tesla Master Plan Part 3 is in the works. I'm Brian. Welcome to my Tesla Weekend. How's everybody doing? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. You may be watching the full version on Friday on My Tesla Live, the second channel, or you may be watching the condensed version over the weekend on my. So back in 2006, Elon made his secret master plan, just between you and me. It, was ambitious, was bold. And anyone on Reddit and Twitter and YouTube is happy to tell you that he has absolutely satisfied it. Because if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you see it's build a sports car, a check. Use that money to build an affordable car, a check. Use that money to build an even more affordable car, and provide zero-emission electric power generation options. Did he actually do it, though? If a YouTuber tells you that all of these are checks, they're skipping the details. They're just trying to make you happy, so you'll give them a like. So he said the Roadster was absolutely built, but it wasn't built for $89,000. And the four-door at roughly half that price, well, that'd be $44,500. That never happened. And then one even more affordable than that, I assume we're talking about the Model 3. Well, the Model 3 you cannot get for $44,000. So I would call these partly complete. I'd call them partly complete. Batteries, make them better. Yeah, lithium iron phosphate, I would count that as a check. And the batteries, they'd already moved to a lower nickel, lower cobalt sort of thing. But can you count that? And then, of course, becoming energy positive, create sustainable energy products from other companies along with the car, like Solar City. I would call that a check. So that's all good-ish. Not one to call that a day. That's not his thing. Master Plan Part 2, 10 years later. Create stunning solar roofs with seamlessly integrated battery storage. Expand the electric drive. Well, let's just start there. Would you call them stunning? I think they look nice. I mean, stunning. I don't know. I like them. But stunning is a big word. And they're very expensive, and they're very hard to get. Expand the electric vehicle product line to address all major segments. No. No, we're not there. The pickup the Cybertruck will absolutely get us a lot closer. But we're not there. We're just not there. We still need cargo vehicles. We need minivans. We need vehicles under 40,000. That will address all major segments, in my opinion. Develop a self-driving capability that is 10 times safer than manual. Well, I mean, we know we're not there. Enable your car to make money for you when you aren't using it. I mean, you can put it on Turo. I don't think that's what he meant. So why are we moving on to Part 3 with so much of Part 2 not done? Can we count the solar roof? It's just not easy to deploy. It's very expensive. The integrated battery storage, that's a check, for sure. But the reason to move on from Part 2, Part D, is because these are all on cruise control. These will happen no matter what. They're on the way. So what is part 3? Oh, look at this page. It says like and subscribe. Oh, I don't know how that got there. So what is part 3? Well, in my opinion, part 3 is autonomy. Of course it is. It's artificial intelligence. Of course it is. But the first part is to get rid of peaker plants. Let's get rid of them. There's 1,000 in the U.S. alone. None of them have really been replaced yet. That's ripe for disruption. That's a $1 trillion opportunity there. And I know because I made a whole video about it. Yeah. Getting rid of peaker plants is a big deal. And it's something Tesla can do. They already have the roadmap. They already know what they're doing. It's going to be easy-ish. They've built the factory to make the megapacks. We saw a flyover from Sawyer Merritt today where there's 293 megapacks outside of Giga Nevada awaiting delivery. That's a lot of capacity. Stationary storage doesn't have to use the highest density batteries. They can use kind of whatever. Because weight is less critical. That's a fun choice I went with there. So step 1 of part 3, make peaker plants obsolete. Part 2, build the bot. A cheap, simple bot. Now in my video I'd said they could probably build it for $20,000. And the more I think about that, the more I realize, no, it's going to be like $1,000 to $2,000 to build it. This is very complicated. It doesn't need to be this complicated. It can be simplified, and it will be. If you look at the first hoverboard, it was a very complicated device, and then all the Chinese knockoffs came along, and the first thing they thought was, obviously they infringed on our patents. Cracked it open. No, they took completely different approaches to get to the same place. By the way, I'm using a better camera. Can you tell the difference? Can you tell the difference? So the bot can be very, very cheap, and it can be very, very good. Now on the part 2, Jeff commented, autopilot is 9 times safer. Supervised autopilot is 9 times safer. Just not on its own. So build a cheap, simple bot. Well, it can't be cheap. I mean, the chipset alone is going to be $1,000 or $2,000. Yeah, but Moore's Law hasn't expired yet. It's slowing down, but it hasn't expired. But in order to get the bot, we need part 3, the big part, AI. So we're talking Dojo. This was an amazing event. If you haven't watched the AI chip reveal at Autonomy Day, wasn't it? No, it was AI Day. My apologies. If you haven't watched the full video of the AI Day presentation, maybe don't. It's very, very hard to understand. It's real wonky. It wasn't for us. It wasn't for shareholders. It wasn't for buyers. It was a recruiting event, and a very successful one. So they had to deal with people like us scratching our heads and trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Now this has a lot of breakthroughs, a lot of revolutionary stuff. But so did Hardware 1 for self-driving. And so did Hardware 2 and 3. These chip designers do not clock out and head to the beach and move on to some other company or project. The project they move on to is the next Tesla project. What we've seen in Dojo, by the time it's actually out and working, will already be almost obsolete by Tesla standards. They'll be on to the next one, and it'll be another step change. It's very exciting. So it's a beast, but the next beast is coming. So the first thing they got to do is solve every application of driving. Every application, which will put truck drivers out of work. 3.6 million professional truck drivers. Yeah. And that doesn't count all the other drivers. There's a shortage of drivers of all kinds. Taxi, Uber, Lyft, school bus. It's coming. And it's going to put a lot of people out of work. And then after that, the big thing is to solve every job case that requires physical labor on Earth. Now, when it comes to creative stuff, intelligent stuff, bots are already doing that. They just don't have bodies. When it comes to construction, that is a relatively safe profession for now. But once the bots got the dexterity and the intelligence to drill holes and run wires in a framed up new residential building, it's going to shift. And in the beginning, they'll be slower than humans, but so much cheaper it doesn't matter. Throw 10 in where you might throw 2 humans. But they'll get faster, and they'll get faster quickly, and they'll get cheaper quickly. So, solve every case related to driving, solve every case related to labor on Earth, and solve every case regarding labor off Earth. If you can make them work in the desert without supervision, if you can drop them in Antarctica and they can do their job, they're ready for the big time. They can go to Mars and build the everything before we get there. They could be the biggest workforce on the moon in 10 to 12 years. Well, I mean, they would be the only workforce, but you get what I'm saying. So the FSD will kill the profession of driving, and the bot will kill the rest of the professions. Part 4. Here we go. Master Plan Part 3, Step 4. Protect humanity from both bots and poverty. What would that look like? What does it look like to protect? Well, Elon has been on the forefront of saying we need to have standards for AI. He's thinking Asimov's laws of robotics, but on a higher level. Something like, just legislating it. Not just coding it, but putting safeguards in place. But to protect against danger is one thing. We also need to protect against poverty. Now, how do we do that? I don't know the answer for sure. I have a bunch of ideas I've shared in the past, specifically on my Tesla bot video, where I was saying that what we need is bot taxes. Yeah, taxes on bots. They're doing work. It has value. They should be paying for it. Someone should be paying for it. So I've got a video I've written that I wrote last night that I haven't yet finished. haven't shot or anything yet. That explains some of the ways the Tesla bot can safely, humanely make the world a better place. You can start by giving them jobs no one wants or can't afford or for which there is no budget. Send them out to replant forests. That's a valuable thing. And they can just be sunlight powered. Easy. Leave them out there. Drop in more saplings for them to plant. They can clean rivers. They can go to the floor of the ocean and pick up trash. It's a silly idea, just sending a bunch of bots out to the ocean floor to pick up trash bags. But do it. They could explore the ocean in ways humans simply can't. So, how do you fund that? Well, I don't want to spoil it, because I've got some good jokes on it, which will be in the next video on this topic. But the bottom line is, rich countries will pay small taxes on bots, and rich people will pay small taxes on bots to provide lifestyles for humans. It'll free us up to do what we want to do. So while Master Plan Part 1 back in 2006 was ambitious, it was ambitious only on the scale of someone whose biggest accomplishment was running PayPal. Master Plan Part 2 was very ambitious, but only ambitious on the scale of someone who had successfully started a car company, let alone an electric one, which is lunacy at the time. But it was ambitious based on his scale. Master Plan Part 3 is ambitious. Now, this is my prediction. This is my best guess. Master Plan Part 3 is the sort of thing that is ambitious even on the scale of richest man alive, which today he might be. We'll have to see what Amazon's at, but you get the idea. It is ambitious, but you got to do it. So some things I've heard tossed out that people believe is going to happen that I don't think are going to be in the plan. One is a shift away from sales. Now, I believe that's a thing that is going to happen. That's what the focus of that next video is. A shift away from sales, I think, is going to happen. We're already seeing it. The battery, the large grid-scale battery in Texas, codenamed Gambit Energy, is one example. Offering all those Model 3s on leases that you couldn't buy out, that's part of it. But I don't think that's part of the master plan. Tesla Aviation, yeah, that's a thing they could do. There are analysts who are very smart who believe that that is absolutely coming. That could happen. But I don't think it's part of the master plan. And a massive shift into being a vendor for other manufacturers, sell them battery, license them self-driving, sure, that can happen. I don't think it's part of the master plan. So we've got another 12 minutes here. If you've got questions, smack them in now. And a quick thanks, as always, to my Patreons who get early access, bonus content, an ad-free experience, all that good stuff. Some exclusive content, and a lot of early content lately, especially versus Ford Lightning, and things like that. So, let's get into the questions. Which one should I leave running? We'll leave this guy. Yeah, we'll leave this guy. Okay. Greenpad says, give a thumbs up. Yes, please do that. If you haven't subscribed, pretty please do. This channel is very small still. But I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy hanging out with you guys. I really do. And you can tell, because when you get here at 7 o'clock, there's already dozens of chat messages between us, just hanging out, having a good time. By the way, kind of a funny story I wanted to share. This background, it looks like it's like a foot behind me. So I ordered the extra big one, and rather than them photograph a larger brick wall, they just scaled it up. So it's actually... pretty silly. I just thought it was funny. Shivansh, hope I'm pronouncing that right. What about India? I believe, as I've said many times, I believe India will be among the next 3 to 4 factories announced. There are still a lot of political wranglings that need to take place in order for that to happen and work. We shall see. So let's see here. Camera looks great, a little sharper. Yeah, it's a real camera. It's a nice. It's the one I use for all the pre-tapes. And so instead of using a webcam, I just bought the gear to actually make it go through the computer. What's the future of Tesla in Russia after the war? Grim. Grim. It looks like the decision to do the invasion is going to set them back 20 years in terms of their economy. Who is this says Tesla never had a future in Russia. That is my belief as well. I believe it was very, very low on the list to not on the list. And I would lean more towards not on the list. If we were betting, and I am not a betting man, the odds I would say would be 20 to 1 in the next 10 years. Oh no, 10 in ever. 20 to 1 ever. But in the next 10 years, 30, 40 to 1 would be my guess. I disagree with the assessment that India is very small. India, today, is what China was 22, 23 years ago. Though they lack some of the absolute rigidity in central planning for which China is so well known. By the way, the Giga Shanghai factory did reopen. Apparently it was closed for less than 2 days and not entirely closed during that time. I think that will not impact deliveries because I believe they're still parts constrained. Although, now that I think about it, the parts providers may have similarly had delays. We shall see. Shivansh, I don't think Who Is This is being rude. I think he's being forward. He gives me a ribbing from time to time, and it's all in good nature. Ooh. I've said before, Who Is This, that I believe that India would be a very good exporter for all left-hand drive countries, right-hand drive countries, and also have a tremendous first mover advantage as a serious electric car company. India, I think, would make a lot more sense once the $25,000 mystery compact car is announced, especially if they're going to make different platforms for each region, or the same platform with different trims, different designs for each region. I think that would be cool. Yeah. Greenpad says it can be hard to comprehend the output of a bot that works 24/7. How many workers would that equate to? So that's the thing. And it's not 24/7 because it does have to charge, but it can charge 5 minutes an hour. It can charge less frequently than a human would need to take breaks. So if it is 1/3 the speed of a human, it's already faster because it works weekends. And there's no insurance. The insurance you're paying is very different on a bot than a human. You don't have to pay for vacations. It's, it's like that. And then, of course, it will continue speeding up. And one viewer was suggesting extra arms. Wouldn't it be nice if while you're doing this, you've got another arm holding whatever in place, holding the ladder while your other hands are climbing? I mean, extra arms. I like it. Elon is a big picture dreamer. Will Tesla give supercharger credits to those that plug in and unplug robo-taxis that are at the superchargers they are using? It's a great question. Or will they just have an attendant who works there? Because that'd be very easy. Just one employee. Especially if you've got, 100 stalls. But that would be nice. Hey, while you're at the supercharger, could you go unplug Robotaxi in spot 36? We'll give you a $4 credit. People would be delighted to. Wild speculation on what will be built at the Shanghai expansion. More threes and Ys or something new. If you mean at the south end of the main first building on the west side, honestly, I think they're already tooling for the compact. I really hope that's what it is. But if it is just an expansion, then great. It could be, I was going to say batteries. I don't think it's batteries. If anything, I think that building in the northeast corner might be batteries. But boy, they are running out of room. I've got a video coming up probably Sunday or Monday on Best in Tesla. It's just a little clip. He features me. That's already up on Patreon, by the way, showing the side-by-side construction. And there is already more ground broken to expand even more than there was a week ago. They're running out of room. We need a video of you explaining Ford and GM's current and future debts. We hear every week about their new project, but where is the money coming from? Yeah. Well, they had very profitable 2021s, so that's where some of it's coming from. A lot of their debt is their lease accounting, which is not real debt. That's good debt that will pay off. But their pension obligations are substantial, and their debt load is alarming. And there are still ratings agencies that put their credit as quite good, and Tesla's as shockingly not very good. You know, Tesla has enough cash to pay everything off today if they wanted. They have enough cash to build the next 5 or 10 factories, and they're cash flow positive in alarming, delightful ways. And with these recent price hikes, that trend is sure to continue. CATL plant is being built next door. Probably not batteries. Oh, problem. Not batteries or probably. Anyway, yes, if you check out Wuwa, he has a series where he is now tracking the CATL plant in Shanghai, and it is quite literally like a mile and a half. At one point in his video last week, he flew from the CATL to Giga Shanghai, around it and back. It is that close. You can see one from the other from a bird's eye perspective. What are my next 4 Gigafactory location predictions? I would refer you to, I made a video or 2 about that. I made 2 videos going through mathematically, and showing where I think they will be. I don't remember what I came up with, but the answer, I feel like it surprised me, but I don't remember now. Launch delayed T plus 2 hours, I think is what you mean. SpaceX has a Starlink launch tonight. It'll be at 10 p.m. Pacific, 10:15 p.m. Pacific. Have Ford and GM actually started building anything, or is it all just posturing? Fantastic questions. I will look into that. If anyone has an answer, by all means, post it. PR posturing is what Jeff says. Tesla due for upgrade soon on credit rating should result in another bump in share prices. There are a lot of, I think regular investors, retail investors, don't care as much about that, especially Tesla investors who are unusually engaged in the day-to-day operations of the company. But there are a lot of pension funds and mutual funds that cannot, or certainly will not, buy a stock unless its credit rating is at a certain level. This would allow more of them to come into that. I think that's about it. Thank you guys for being here. What fun we have. So what did I miss or misunderstand? Leave me all them thoughts and comments. And if you're catching this on the replay, there you go. Stay tuned, stay juicy, all that good stuff. Oh, you know what we could talk about real quick? Giga Texas. Is anyone going? I'm going to be there April 6th through 12th. Very late on the 6th through the morning of the 12th. And there's a rumor that I will be hosting a fairly large meet and greet with a number of other YouTubers who you've heard of. None of the A-listers, of course. They, you know. So if you're going to be in Texas, be on the lookout. That's gonna happen. Yeah. All right, guys. I'll talk to you soon.